I grew up with my grandmother from when I was 2 months all up till I was 4 years old. So growing up in the village, upbringing was very simple. Yeah, like I have the best childhood memories. This is exactly where we would play as well. And at a young age, you're being taught about our way of life. The sea is our home, and the sea is our guardian. I grew up in that custom education. This means being surrounded by elders. For Langa Langa, sea level rise is a major issue. So in the last 20 years, we've lost 23 meters of our land. So during like king tide, like around Christmas time, the water will come into this whole area. We no longer get to enjoy Christmas because Christmas is a time where we have to prepare ourselves for the king tides, and king tides during that time just completely consume our land. We have dances here or festivities, but because of the high tide, the king tides, a lot of them get canceled because water gets knee height in this area. As a community, the population's growing, but our island's getting narrower. They say by the time I'm 65, I won't have Lilisiana to call home anymore.
Climate change is the biggest existential threat to the Pacific region. Pacific communities, we contribute the least to the causes of climate change, and yet we are at the forefront.
The Pacific states have said it for a long time. Their security interest is not in the traditional security space. Their security issues is in the issues of human security, climate change, sea level rise. These are the key issues that may fall by the wayside because there's so much focus on the geopolitics and the strategic aspect of things.
I feel like the Pacific has always been treated like monopoly pieces. We were cut up, given to the French, given to the Germans, given to the British, to the Americans. It's no different now with the climate crisis. China and America, even Australia and New Zealand, they're trying to get their claim on the Pacific. And you watch everything that happens around climate change, because I feel like that's just a new arena for them to trade and to buy new pieces.
So just imagine like this church was the center of our village before. So the houses would go out to where the boys have built their new lodge. So for me, not only is the degradation of our physical landscapes the alarming issue, it's the cultural erosion that comes with that.
Everyone is so preconditioned to think climate loss is cyclones, is drought, is flash floods, and that's physical loss. But the cultural and spiritual loss is so underspoken and not focused on enough.
Land is integral to a Pacific Island person's existence. You know, because we have the understanding of land as being an ancestor, and because there's that spiritual relationship between one's homeland, birthplace, place of death, right? The place where our ancestors are buried, the prospect of becoming uprooted is one that causes a lot of anguish and pain.
This is our home. Many want to be buried where their parents and their grandparents and so forth are buried as well. So this is the community graveyard. So everyone gets buried here from our great-great-grandfathers. Yeah, where I wanted to show you. It's a place I really care about, but it's also a place that's, yeah, a dark reality or a very sad reality of what we're facing. My great-grandfather and some uncles, they're just somewhere under this, buried here are our ancestors. It's a special place where physically the linkage is strong, but because of sea level rise, it's really hard to feel that sense of line, your abua, your blood, that strength that comes with it. To actually, you know, feel like its disappearance is not by choice, it's forced. It doesn't feel right.
Some argue it's just land, you know. You can move and go rebuild your life somewhere else. But the soil or land that I sit on has been passed down through generations. This is our identity. Because then, without it, then what are we? It also makes us vulnerable to the geopolitics. Because then we are a people who will be needing assistance in 20 years' time. And I think some of these global powers know this, and they're playing on that as well. Whenever we have a disaster, cyclone, an earthquake, it is these countries who run to our aid. That makes us vulnerable. And is that weakening our position? Of course it is.
Pacific states are already vulnerable as it is. They already have weak governance systems. In some of them, there's political instability, there's leadership issues. There's a lot of aid coming into the region. There's a question around effectiveness. And then there's a question around capacity.
Aid comes in all types of forms, and it can be conditional or it can be unconditional. And if it's unconditional, you have to make sure it's given to the right projects. So it's used for education, it's used for poverty relief, it's used for climate change and adaptation. It's not good when the aid is used for the military. You want the schools to be built with American money and Chinese money. To me, that's a win-win situation. And then you let the schools alone and you let the Pacific people deliver their education. The legacy at the Pacific is one of neglect and then manipulation, and that is not sustainable.
Joseph, sit down, please.
We're not just reliant on outside countries. Families are reliant on family members overseas.
Yeah, you can start.
For Tonga, 44% of our GDP is remittance.
Education, I think, is definitely the key for these young minds to grow up and be whatever they want to be.
My name is Fifita.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Vet, because I like animals.
A lot of our teachers have left to go overseas. It's not good news for us to have all our teachers go. I know it has to do with the wages.
Because if more people go, which I know they will, we won't have anyone here to work to develop our country. There's a lack of people here to work, and it's hard to find staff. I think ordinary Tongan people just want, I know they don't want to leave Tonga, but they also want to get paid well enough to be able to take care of their family.
what we're finding is that the governments are seeing a labour shortage because key people are finding it more advantageous to them to go than to stay in their own country and work. Many local businesses are also suffering because they don't have the workers, they don't have the people who are working in the agricultural sector, and sometimes that's a big part of an economy, like in Tonga. So local businesses based on local enterprise are suffering.
We often talk about people's right to move, the rights of mobility, but people also have a right to stay. They have a right to stay home on their lands or surrounded by their waters, and in a way that their ancestors envisaged and in a way that they also want to envision for their future generations.
I really hope one day that we'll have an economy that can, produce stuff here. We're not a rich country, but we're rich in resources. Maybe start small and slowly build it to a point where Tonga can be independent and be able to develop and sustain itself.
There's this Samoan saying, e fofo le alamea. The starfish that poisons is also the starfish that heals. And so the proverb is a lesson in the solutions for our problems are within us. No one can come from the outside and solve those troubles. It must be solved from the inside.
Pacific people are resilient, and I believe they will be okay in the longer term, but there are a lot of challenges out there right now. And building resilience in these communities where they are empowered both resource-wise, education-wise, sovereignty-wise, autonomy-wise are the tools that will get them to that sustainable place.
Faith for me is just a rootedness in something, an anchor, and something that keeps me going. Our people, we have this thing called mawhana, which is a spirit of warmth. And I feel like Tongans are like that. If we're around people who are passionate about something, that mawhana, that sense of warmth comes out, and we go above and beyond for something. I just want to encourage my fellow Tongans for us to come together, especially us in the business sector, and really talk about where we can move or how we can move forward in regards to development and self-sustainability. We're at our family shop. We sell groceries, meats, pig feed, chicken feed, and we also have a little eatery. Family is it's foundational. There's no running away from family. It's very tight-knit. It's just great to work with my dad.
I'm trying to get here to follow my footsteps because I follow my parents' footsteps.
I don't come from a business background, so it's all just watching and learning. It's very much like him growing up.
Now we're in a phase where we're getting mostly Chinese business people coming in. I think there are some people, especially in the small business sector, who don't like the new Chinese that have come in, primarily because they've been able to sort of access supply chains from China, which undercuts local small businesses, especially in the little shops.
There's a lot of competition in this field of, let's say, groceries. He lost a lot of the customers that he used to have before. It wouldn't be wise to continue down this road, but rather focus on our strengths, which is in the chicken farm.
Our contract to be here in the store will be end December next year. We were thinking maybe it would be better to move to the farm and then just run the farm.
I
love it because, you know, I grew up in it. And I think I remember my father started the business when I was 2 years old. So that's why, and I love chicken. This 3,500 chicks. I think maybe I'm the longest person to do poultry in Tonga. And there's few other Tongan farmers, so we just need to extend our farm and then we employ more Tongan people. Tongan people, they rather go for the local eggs.
There's more of the awareness to support locally made products. So I think that now is the best time to build up on these businesses because the people's mindset has changed. And I think that comes with this generation. We shouldn't need to import eggs anymore because there's 4 other Tongan farms and they're supporting each other. So it would be good to build all of those. I think like we become then just too dependent on, like, let's say aid or whatever it is. Strengthening businesses will then have choice to say yes or no. Because right now we don't, so we have to say yes to a lot of outside help. But then in the end, we become indebted and find ourselves in really difficult situations. We just need to be reminded that we can do it and try to build up not just our country, but our economy for ourselves and for the next generation.
The influx of foreign aid that's coming through to the country is none like our people has experienced before. Foreign aid or aid dependency is growing at an alarming rate amongst our people. That dependency continues to just disconnect us from who we truly are. It's really time that, Pacific, our leaders actually step up. And otherwise, we'll be, subjecting our own powers to the hands of others who don't care about our customs, who don't care about our land or our sea. I truly believe we can empower our people for social change. So that's why I started Custom Keepers. We're an organization that works with communities to revitalize and preserve our depleting traditional knowledge and cultural heritage. We're not only building the future generation to be custom keepers, our knowledge holders, but we're also navigating ways in which our traditional knowledge can help us to adapt and mitigate the climate crisis at our shores.
I think we're all clinging to hope. If you can't enter into this space with that optimism, then there's really no point, and we're not ready to give up. It sounds utopian and flowery, but it's like, it's real. We just kind of have this faith that we're gonna figure it out. Together, we have to.
We're restoring our traditional custom house. In our language, we call that a whaiwhai. These traditional whaiwhais were desecrated during colonization. They were vital for passing down of knowledge and customary practices. So the whaiwhai will mainly be where the chiefs can make decisions. And it'll also be that learning space where young people and elders come together. We believe that without cultural resilience, there's no climate resilience.
As much as foreign aid or other governments would want to come and tell us how to fix and how to adapt to the climate crisis, it will only be the solutions that we know will work for our villages that can work. And it's because of this that we have always been resilient.
It's literally a symbol of showing that, you know, we're going to fight. Whatever way possible, we're going to fight together.
We are here at the Miss Samoa pageant. Today's the float day. Yeah, a beautiful display of Samoan culture, of who we are, everything, Samoa Matalasi. I will push back against the idea that, you know, we're just a vulnerable country who's going to be subjected and pushed around and kicked around like a soccer ball in the arena of international politics. We have to be more innovative around our diplomacy. And I think, you know, Samoans are very capable of being able to achieve a lot on the world stage with very little.
We don't have the money, we don't have the resources, but we want to see our people developing themselves. We want to see our government coming up with ideas and ways where people can actually make money, because at the end of the day, it's about money.
There's certain things that I want to see improve in my own country. Political leadership is the key. If we get the wrong leaders, boof, we're in trouble big time. The political leadership are the ones forgetting why they're in there in the first place. That is to grow your economy and leave legacies for our children.
There's a very strong colonial legacy in the Pacific, whether it's the Americans, whether it's the French, whether it's the British, whether it's the Australians, or whether it's the Kiwis. There has been decades of others telling the Pacific people how they should behave. It's about hearing the Pacific voice so that the Pacific people can determine their own future.
Yes, the answers sit within our ancestral knowledge, but there's a caveat to that, right? I actually would like those groups to look at coloniality before they look at Indigenous knowledge. Otherwise, it will be just another site of extraction, but it will be extraction from Indigenous knowledge systems. Indigenous peoples carry the solutions, but this needs to come hand in hand with Indigenous political liberation.
In the Pacific, you're really fighting for the values that make that island community, that nation, what it is and what makes it unique. You're fighting for the beauty that it brings to the world. You know that it's valuable and you want to protect it.
My hopes and aspirations. Obviously, we are in a world that's developing and changing as we go. I want us to maintain our culture, and I want our children to grow up and their children's children to have land and still keep this beautiful place that they call home.
I feel hopeful. I believe in radical hope. Like, there's so many young people in Samoa defying odds. You won't see them on the newspaper. They won't be a contestant for Miss Samoa. They're not speaking at the UN, but they're in their villages, they're replanting coral, they're creating youth programs for education. Their projects will be the innovation that will be protecting our seawalls, protecting our land. They will be the activists calling out governments, and they give me hope.